Today on Sports Card Investor, we're looking at the 5 hottest quarterbacks in the NFL and the dramatic rise in their card prices this year.
My name is Jeff Wilson. By day, I invest in tech companies, and at night, I invest in sports cards. Join me on my journey to profit from the hobby we all love.
Sports card investors, and welcome to another episode. Ladies and gentlemen, we have made it. We have finally made it to this day. And no, I'm not talking about Election Day. We are not going to talk about Election Day on this show. This is a no politics zone. No, I am talking about the halfway of the NFL season. We have made it halfway through the NFL season. And it actually hasn't been too bad. Yes, we've had some teams that have had to skip games, and we've had some weird things happen like football games on Tuesday nights. But for the most part, we're rolling on, and we're having a great season. It's been fun to watch. There's been a lot of really great players to see this year, including some amazing quarterback play. And that's what we're talking about in today's episode. We've got 5 epic quarterbacks who are currently playing who have done some great things with their card prices. And I want to remind you that all of the graphs and data that we are about to dive into all comes from our Market Movers data platform here at Sports Card Investor. And you can check it out by going to sportscardinvestor.com and clicking on Market Movers in the main menu bar. All right, guys, let's jump right in with our 5th person on today's list. The 5th hottest quarterback this year, Kyler Murray. And we rank these quarterbacks, by the way, according to their betting odds to win MVP. So that's what we're actually looking at in today's episode. Kyler Murray is 20-1 to win MVP. So his odds are kind of long, but he is still in 5th place overall, and his card prices have done some good things this year as a result. Now, Kyler Murray, the exciting thing about him is he is in his 2nd year. Kyler Murray, by the way, is a guy who I have been investing in quite heavily. I see a lot of potential in his career. I like the way his career is going, and his play this year is certainly living up to that hype for a 2nd-year quarterback. Now, his passing numbers this year are decent. They're kind of middle of the pack. They're nothing crazy. He's 17th in the NFL with passing yards. He's thrown 13 TDs. He's thrown 7 interceptions, so nothing exceptional there. But he is leading all quarterbacks, including leading Lamar Jackson, in rushing yards and rushing touchdowns. He has 7 rushing touchdowns this year, and that is certainly helping his team's offense. And you can tell because the Cardinals are a surprise breakout team this year. The Cardinals are 5-2 after ending last year with only 5 wins. They've already got 5 wins, and we're not even halfway through their season yet. So it's been an impressive breakout. Let's take a look at Kyler Murray's 2019 Prism card in PSA 10. This is his base card. Now you can see the awesome run-up this card has been on all year. And I want to point out, you're going to see this with a lot of the players we go through. There was this frenzy of card buying that occurred in August. So you see an August spike with a lot of the players that we're going to look at today. But Kyler Murray, his cards have been so hot that even beyond the August spike, his cards continue to explode during the month of September. Now, they have gone down quite a bit over the last few weeks. The reason for that is not his play, because his play has continued to be good. And in fact, the Cardinals beat the Seahawks, the week before last, and that was a great performance, a great comeback performance by Kyler Murray. But the reason why his cards have slid down some is I think you kind of came off that August frenzy, but because the football season was just starting, there was still a lot of hype around some of the players, Kyler especially so, going into his 2nd year. So there's a lot of flipping activity going on within his cards through the month of September as he came out hot. The cards have definitely settled down since then, but if you look at the overall trajectory over the course of the year, it is a super strong trajectory, as you can see on your screen, up 349%, almost 350% over the course of this calendar year. You could have bought this card back in February for as low as $40. For as low as $40, you could have bought his 2019 Prism base card. This card today is sitting at a little bit north of $500. So quite the increase for those people who got on these cards back in January and February of this year. I should mention this card is a population of 1,321, which is actually high for Prism football compared to, what it was the year prior. So that could be part of the reason as well. There's more population of Kyler Murray cards than, let's say, a Lamar Jackson or a Patrick Mahomes card from the previous 2 years. But still, in relative to what we see in basketball, where Kyler Murray's got a population of his Prism base of 1,321, and a player like Luka is well over 10,000, football cards are still quite rare compared to their counterparts in other sports, baseball and basketball included. So I'm pretty optimistic about the trajectory of Kyler Murray. I am still buying his cards, and I look forward to good things from him in years ahead. All right, let's go to the number 4 guy on this list. That is the GOAT, Tom Brady. Tom Brady has picked it up in Tampa Bay, right where he left off in New England. He's doing great things with Tampa Bay. Tom Brady is 10-1 on his current odds to win the MVP award this year. Of course, we're coming off another win last night by the Bucs, a comeback win over the New York Giants. And Tom Brady's stats have been impressive this year. This guy has 18 passing touchdowns, only 4 interceptions. Actually, that was even prior to last night's game, so those need to be updated. But he's, an incredible accuracy this year, really, really good numbers. The Bucs are, of course, now 6-2. They're off to a hot start. Last year, they were 7-9. So you can see the immediate impact going from 7-9 to now 6-2 with Tom Brady there. Now, Tom Brady's, of course, whatever happens with him this season, much like LeBron in basketball, it's not necessarily going to have a huge impact on his card prices because this guy's cards are already, baked in terms of the fact that he's won so many championships already. But nonetheless, his cards have been hot this year, and we're going to go look at his iconic rookie card, his 2000 Bowman Chrome PSA 10, and how that has climbed over the course of the year. There were a couple of spikes with this card that you can see. So first of all, a spike occurred in here as people were getting really excited about him being with the Bucs. So as that news broke, and then he went to the Bucs, and then they did things like, draft offensive players in the NFL draft, which happened in this timeline and here, and then they signed Gronkowski. All these things happened over the course of the spring and the summer, which caused a lot of interest in his card prices. And you see they continue to go up. We had a huge spike for his prices as part of that August market frenzy where tons of people were buying cards in August. They've come down a little bit since then, but they have still remained quite hot the entire year. Now, this 2000 Bowman Chrome of Brady's in PSA 10 was a card you could have gotten into for a little bit over $2,000 back in January, back in February. And this card right now has most recently sold for in the neighborhood of about $7,500. So incredible appreciation of his card prices over the course of the year, a 239% increase. So Tom Brady is perhaps the GOAT, not only of quarterbacking, but also of the long-term appreciation value of his cards. These are cards, of course, that are probably only going to continue to go up for years and years to come. The number 3 guy on our list is not quite as accomplished as Brady, but somebody who is still an accomplished veteran in his own right and who has been having a wonderful season. I'm talking about Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers' odds to win the MVP award this year, slightly better than Brady's. They are 9-1. And by the way, who would you pick to win the MVP this year? Let me know in the comments below which of these quarterbacks I'm talking about in today's episode. Who would be your pick for MVP? Maybe it's not even a quarterback. I don't know. But Rodgers is the 3rd most likely to win the MVP award at 9-1. And Rodgers has been having a good season. They were off to a 5-2 start so far this year. He came out with a chip on his shoulder. The Packers drafted Jordan Love, another quarterback, in the first round of the draft. They did not get Aaron Rodgers any help at receiver or any real notable offensive help in the draft as people were expecting them to do. Didn't do much through free agency. And so you have Rodgers coming into the season feeling like he has something to prove. And yes, he has definitely proved some things this season. He has been absolutely great. Incredible passing statistics this year. 20 touchdowns and only 2 interceptions. 20 touchdowns, only 200 interceptions. He's 9th in the NFL in passing yards. And of course, this guy's already won 2 MVP awards. Does he have a chance at having a third this year? Possibly so. We'll see how the second half of the season goes. Now, Rodgers' kind of iconic rookie card is his 2005 Topps Chrome card in PSA 10. By the way, this is a super low population card. As you can see here in Market Movers, this is a population of only 229. So this is an extremely hard card to get your hands on. Let's go back and look at Brady. Brady's a population of 1,050. So Brady's 2000 Bowman Chrome in PSA 10 is a population of 1,050, and it's selling for about $7,500. Whereas Rodgers is a population of 229, so less than a quarter of Brady's, and Rodgers most recently sold for $1,750. So way lower in price than Brady, also way lower in pop count than Brady. Kind of interesting. This is his 2005 Topps Chrome PSA 10. This is a card that's gone up quite a bit this year. Now, unlike a lot of the cards we've seen in the football market, the August frenzy didn't really impact this card as much, and it really hasn't come down at all from August. It stayed pretty strong up until this very last most recent sale. It stayed very, very strong over the course of this season because his performance has been so good. And I think the reason why you haven't seen as much volatility with this card as we did with some of the others is the pop count is just so much lower. The pop count is lower. And by the way, that is a good lesson out there for sports card investors, is that if you have a rare card, if you have a card with a very low pop count, it will likely experience less day-to-day market volatility than the cards with the high pop counts. Your base cards, your ultra modern base cards of rookies from the last few years where there's 10,000 of them, you know, out on the market in PSA 10 perhaps, you're going to experience a lot more volatility than you will if you have a card like this one where there's only a pop at 229, because that is a sought after chase card. It's hard for people to get their hands on, so it's less likely to see the same type of dramatic swings. When one of those pops up on the market, people still want to go after it regardless of what the prices have done recently. There's still attention and interest in it, and as a result, there's multiple people chasing the card, and that is always good for card prices. So something to keep in mind there when you're making your investments. This particular Rodgers card could have been bought at the beginning of January for as low as $610. Most recent sale of this card was $1,750, although just before that, the card went for as much as $2,300. So that might have just kind of been a freakishly low sale that we happened to get one day here a couple of weeks ago. So very nice card to own. Rodgers is having a very nice season. We'll see where that one goes. Our number 2 guy has been, I mean, he needs no introduction. Patrick Mahomes has been unbelievable for the last couple of years, and he has also been unbelievable for the hobby as well. It has been incredibly fun chasing his cards. And by the way, listen to these stats this year. Patrick Mahomes, 21 touchdowns and just 1 interception. Talk about accuracy and efficiency. My goodness. 2,315 passing yards, second in the NFL. Absolutely incredible. His odds to win the MVP this year, 3.5 to 1. 3.5 to 1. So certainly much shorter odds than the other guys we talked about so far. As you guys already know, he won the Super Bowl last year, Super Bowl MVP. The Chiefs may be on track to get another Super Bowl ring again this year. They certainly look primed to do that. They will have some good competition, though. In the AFC, it appears Pittsburgh's looking pretty solid. And of course, you got the Titans floating out there and the Ravens floating out there. So it's going to be a fun postseason. But Mahomes is having one heck of a season. His card prices have been having one heck of a year. This is his 2017 Prism Silver card in PSA 10. I will, of course, remind you that in 2017, Prism only made silver cards of the rookie class. They did not make base cards. So this is essentially the equivalent of his rookie base card. Population of 833. So still a pretty low pop count, more than Aaron Rodgers, who we just looked at, but actually less than Tom Brady, even though Tom Brady was from 2000, Mahomes 2017 in a PSA 10 is a lower pop count than Tom Brady. Now, this was a card that really got caught up in that August market frenzy. As so much money was going into sports cards during the month of August, there was this huge spike in the market, particularly with ultra-modern cards. Ultra-modern cards are cards from the last couple of years. Mahomes card is one of those cards, and it really got caught up in that frenzy. You can see, actually, if we look back to the beginning of June, this was a $3,200 card. And then if we look into the middle of August, it was an $8,200 card. So it literally jumped by $5,000 over the course of 30 days. Now it has cooled off some since then, as you can see on the graph. Even though his play has been great, it has not been enough to counter the market correction that has been occurring with a lot of ultra-modern cards, because obviously this run-up in price that occurred here between June and August, or July and August, was not sustainable. So we're seeing a cool down even though his play has been great. So I encourage you to look at his card over the course of the year, though, because let's balance out that August frenzy and let's see where things have gone over the course of the year. And you can see his cards have actually gone up more over the course of this year as a whole than any of the previous guys I just showed. More than Aaron Rodgers, more than Tom Brady, more than who did I start with? Kyler Murray, of course. He was in the 5th place, right? Mahomes cards started the year at 524% increase. They started the year at around $800 for this particular card. They ended the year, they've ended, most recently they're selling for right around $5,000. Given the low pop count of this card, I still kind of like it from an investment standpoint. It's expensive at $5K a pop, but I think obviously Mahomes is just going to be, the most relevant quarterback for years and years and years to come. An absolutely great player, but not quite as good this year as the number one guy on the list. Can you guess who it is? Who has been the number one hottest quarterback in the NFL this year with the most likely odds to win MVP? In fact, he is an overwhelming favorite to win MVP. His odds to win MVP are 1 to 1.6. So he is certainly favored to win the MVP award. I am, of course, talking about Russell Wilson.
Mr. Unlimited.
Of the Seattle Seahawks. He's had an incredible year. This is his 9th season. He's never won the MVP, despite going to the Pro Bowl 7 times and winning the Super Bowl 1 time. This is the year he probably gets it done with the MVP award, and his stats leave little doubt. He has 26 touchdown passes, clearly number 1 in the NFL, averaging 4 touchdown passes a game. Incredible. And any of you who have him on your fantasy football teams, you are absolutely loving life this season. The Seahawks are 6-1. He's had a wonderful, wonderful year. He's only 31 years old, so he's got a lot of good career ahead of him as well. And his cards were relatively underappreciated going into this year, and that is why he has actually had the number 1 increase out of all of these quarterbacks in today's list, with an 859% increase in his card prices over the course of the season. Over the course of the year, I should say. If you bought Russell Wilson's cards back in January, you did unbelievably well. He was the best quarterback that you could have bought this year back in January, because his 2012 Topps Chrome PSA 10, which we're looking at here, this was about a $100 card back in January. You could have picked this card up for about $100. Pretty reliably. There was a ton of sales back in January and February and March, and they were all around $100. His cards were flat all the way through April of this year. Then they started their slow rise. They spiked a little bit with the August frenzy. They came back down, but they've gone back up considerably since then. We've seen him drop a little bit in the last couple of weeks. There's no good reason for that, because his play doesn't substantiate that. But it's kind of the same effect we saw with Kyler Murray, where he came out of the gate so hot this season that there was a lot of flipping of his card going on in September, and finally that flipping behavior cooled off a little bit, so we've seen a little bit of a correction through October and now heading into November. But his cards, even without that correction, it's still been an absolutely incredible year for him. These are cards right now that you can pick up for around a little north of $1,000. $1,055 was the last sale of this card. And as a reminder, this was a card you could have bought for $100 back in January. You would be paying now over $1,000 for this card. But even at $1,000 with a pop count of 761, it still may be an incredible buy. I mean, considering the fact that his cards are $1,000 with a pop count that is less than a Brady card, the Brady cards are 7x, less than a Mahomes card that we just looked at a minute ago, and the Mahomes cards are 5x. So, I mean, relative value of Wilson to the other guys on this list still looks pretty good to me, even at $1,000. And it'll be really interesting to see what he and the Seahawks can do this year as they get into the postseason. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, folks, I hope you enjoyed all of this. All of these graphs on today's episode came from Market Movers. If you haven't checked it out yet, go to sportscardinvestor.com and click on Market Movers in the main menu bar to learn how you can subscribe. And I also wanted to mention this Thursday, on our Thursday episode this week, the forecast featuring Amber Wilson. We're changing the format up slightly. She's going to do a deep dive into certain players who might make a good investment going forward and break down 4 really popular players for you who people are chasing. You're going to want to tune in for that, so check out that episode on Thursday. In the meantime, folks, hope you have a great rest of your day and look forward to seeing you back in the next couple of days with some great new episodes. Take care. Enjoy your day.